Greetings, greetings, family. Sister Shanice in the house for another Wednesday evening educational program here on the Sister Shanice Show. Please spread the word, let the family know that we are live. Let me go over to YouTube as well and just check to make sure that you are seeing me. I want to thank you in advance for joining the channel. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. If you're not a subscriber, why not? Please do hit the subscribe button and join me on YouTube. Yes, I'm looking over at YouTube now and I can see that I am indeed live. We have our brother Leader Bandaka waiting backstage, ready to come on and drop another absolutely educational, phenomenally insightful presentation to you all. You know how our leader does his thing. And so as I'm waiting for you to join, family, let me just quickly share my screen and tell you about what we've got coming up. Yes, we've got a phenomenal program lined up, family, and I've had the honor of working with an elder in our community who has been at the forefront of pulling these events together. And I'm honored, for it to be presented on this platform. We are organizing 5 events. We have already organized 5 events, and there is a 6th event to come. Yeah, and we are going to be remembering our late, great Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. We're going to be honoring him at these events. It's been 50 years, or it will be 50 years on the 27th of April since his passing. But his vision lives on. And so on Saturday the 23rd, Sunday the 24th, through to Wednesday, we are going to be having live shows here on the Sister Shanice Show. So please do join me, put the word out. These are going to be educational programs. These platforms, see them as our universities, as our educational platforms, where we focus on the educational curriculum type materials and programs that are important for members of our community. So here we are going to be remembering Kwame Nkrumah, who said, "It is clear that we must find an African solution to our problems, and that this can only be found in African unity. Divided we are weak, but united, Africa could become one of the greatest forces for good in the world." Yeah, sadly, he was taken out too soon, but go to my platform, watch the presentation that was delivered by our very own Leader Bandaka, and you will get the full history of Kwame Nkrumah. And so join us from Saturday the 23rd at 7 p.m. GMT time, because we've got some fantastic speakers and guests lined up for you. We've got Onyekupa Adesoya on Saturday the 23rd. We've got Dr. Amabini on Sunday the 24th. Professor de Valeriera Bochwe on the 24th as well, alongside our sister Dr. Amma. And then on Monday, we are teaming up with the Al-Cabral Revivalist Movement, and they are going to be broadcasting live via the Big G Galaxy Alphiwi. Well, simultaneously, I will be broadcasting live via the Sister Shanice Show. So it's going to be phenomenal. And we've got our brother Jojo Hughes and also Dr. Wendy, who are going to be joining the Al-Cabral Revivalist Movement, plus other guests to be confirmed. So make sure, family, you log on to the Sister Shanice Show or onto the Big G Galaxy Alphiwi for that deeply insightful program. Then on Tuesday, we've got Dr. Michael Gemera, professional chemical engineering, member of the National Organization for Professional Advancement. He's going to be dropping a phenomenal presentation on Tuesday. And then, here are the topics, family. Let me bring in our brother, Leader Bandaka, who I think is hopefully ready to come up front now and join me as well. Okay, so you'll see him very shortly. So, family, The conference topics are presented in front of you. Go back, family, and take a look at those. I won't go through all the topics now because you can actually do that in your own time. But some phenomenal topics for conversation on these events that we're going to be having. Okay, then on Wednesday, we've got a panel discussion. Yes, there are 4 members of the presenters who are going to be delivering a very insightful conversation via a panel debate. The theme, Nkrumah, his meaning to Africans both at home and abroad. We're going to be, rooting ourselves in the vision that Kwame Nkrumah had for the diaspora and for Africans. So that's going to be phenomenal. You want more information, family, about the events that I've got coming up? Please do join my mailing list. Just email me at starlightglobalmanagement@yahoo.com to join the mailing list, okay? If you missed the show that I did with His Excellency, who is supporting Dr. Mackenzie in his mayoral campaign, his London Croydon mayoral campaign, you can catch that on my YouTube channel. Wow, wow, wow. Family, I was honored to interview a king, an African king whose lineage goes way back, family. That was an absolute honor. And he surprised me with a proposal, and I will be sharing that with you in very due course, family. Wow, wow, wow. Also, if you missed last Strong's panel with Dr. Abu, Sister Sheila, Brother Jammers, you can go to my YouTube channel and see the past shows, and it is there for you to watch at your leisure. And make sure next Wednesday, 8 p.m. GMT time, you don't miss our very own Dr. Reverend Shock, who is the first frequency of oneness man. He's going to be dropping some wicked educational from an Africated perspective on the 27th of April. We've got some great shows and events lined up for you. And if you want to support me via Patreon, please do. Your support will go towards me creating more African-centered content. I'm getting requests to go 5 days, 7 days as strong. I'm like, oh my days. Where am I going to get the money from to buy all these outputs, to do all of the work, the communications, the publicity, the promotion, the downside, and everything else? I can, though, if you were all to support me on Patreon, which you can do for as little as £3 per month. So if you, want me to be bringing more independent African news, more Africated programs, then please do support the channel. Remember, if this channel grows, then I will be able to provide a bigger and more far-reaching platform for our guests. And, those of you who are regular here on the Big G, you will know that we have some phenomenal, incredibly, wonderful guests here on this platform. And I can only be in a position to have those guests on the platform if the platform is wide enough and big enough for my guests. There are some guests who are like, yeah, man, I'm coming to support. And there are others who are like, well, I've got a little platform. When you get bigger, then come back and maybe I will speak to your audience. But you know what? We just love the support that we get, from our African-centered brothers and sisters around the world who grace this platform. But let's grow it so that we can reach a bigger audience and more of our people. Brother Leader Bandaka, are you there in the background? Please do take yourself off mute, put your camera on. We are waiting for you to join us front of house. So family, just letting you know, we do actually have Brother Leader Bandaka in the house. There he is. Brother Leader Bandaka, welcome. Welcome. Tendai Mwari.
Can you hear me, my sister?
Loud and clear. Tendai Mwari.
Giving thanks and praises and bringing greetings as always in the most precious, powerful and bountiful name of our motherland, our Kebulan, Mama Africa, in the sacred spirits of our most gracious ancestors, and in a prayer for oneness, hope and prosperity for all African people upon the face of Mother Earth. Africa. To the God of Africa be the glory. And allow me just to emphasize that it is a joy to be an African, and a joy and a profound blessing, my beloved sister, to be on your show once more, to minister to the most important people on the planet, the sons and daughters of Africa. If we only knew, we are the most important people on the planet.
Tendai Mwari, we are indeed. And family, you know, make sure you let your family members know that we are the most important people on the planet, you know, and we are the ones that the planet is waiting on. We are the saviors of the planet. We're the saviors for the environment, the ones who care enough about the insect world, the animal kingdom, the environment. You know, there are those among us who see whose mission it seems to be to want to destroy this planet. So unless we, you know, the people rise up and unite sooner rather than later and take our rightful position, we're going to have a planet that is almost going to be unlivable. So family, time to wake up and take your rightful position. Absolutely agree, leader. We are indeed the people.
Most important people on the planet.
Important people on the planet. That's
tell it to the children, my beloved sister. Tell it to the children.
Will do. And listeners, viewers, you do as well. Tell your children every day. Tell them you are the most important, the most precious little one on the planet today, and you are going to mature and grow into someone who is going to make a significant impact on the world. You know, it just reminds me that Marcus Messiah Garvey said he knew he was going to be great. You know why?
Yeah.
Because his grandmother always told him, it was either his mother or his grandmother who always told him he was going to be great. So he grew believing that he was going to be great. Family, the power of speaking greatness into your children cannot be underestimated.
Just to add to that, my beloved sister, when his mother conceived him, she knew that she had conceived a very special, powerful, ancient spirit, and she claimed him as such. And when he was born, when his father looked at him and saw the resemblance to himself, and based on what his wife had told him, his father held him aloft and said, your name is Marcus Messiah Garvey, and you shall be, using a biblical reference, like a Moses unto your people. So that was proclaimed. The premonition was there from the moment of conception, and the proclamation was made when he was born.
Leader Bandaka, you've just reminded me of, you know, a part of our culture that we've lost, you know, that we did at one time hold dear, the importance, you know, of recognizing the spirit that had returned, and then to pronounce, you know, a name that would represent that person's role and purpose in life.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. And that's so African.
That's African. And we have to bring it back to the diaspora. We have to be proclaiming destiny and purpose over our children, speaking it into their lives.
Absolutely, because in our African tradition, our names are not just labels. Our names are energy forces, energy forces that are called into being and called into action. Energy forces that are awoken in the pronouncement of the name. And that name describes your, as you say, and directs your spirit according to its purpose of being. And so you grow up being guided according to your name.
Yes.
And every time your name is called, it reinforces your purpose of being. And
so your name means great one. Every time you're called,
it's great one. You're called great one. Absolutely, absolutely.
Beautiful. We've lost that, but we must bring it back. So thank you for reminding us of the importance of the name and proclaiming the name over our children. So, you know, some of us, especially in the Caribbean, you know, we pick up a bit of a dirty habit where sometimes, you know, when we're looking with children, we say, oh, you're what, less good for nothing, you're not going to grow in anything, you know. Don't say that over your child. Otherwise, that's precisely what's going to happen. You know, just remind them that they are a king in the making or a queen in the making. Just remind them that they have a family name and a family reputation and greatness inside of them. You
Absolutely.
know,
and if you want to use the word workless, call the behavior workless. Don't call the child workless.
Yes.
You call the behavior workless. Yes. And then you remind the child of its royalty, remind the child of its divinity. And so you in doing so, you pronounce the way that the child, by that behavior, is violating its own spirit, its own soul. So you separate the child from the worklessness,
yes,
which is the behavior.
Yes.
Rather than labeling the child workless.
Yes.
You label the behavior and you separate this divine spirit from the behavior.
Absolutely. Tendai. So our family, as you come into the house, please let us know that you are there. Let us know that you are watching, that you're hearing and you're seeing us. Let us know how we're coming over. Please also do give us a like, give us a thumbs up. We'd much appreciate that. And also, as you come in, if you're not already a subscriber, please do subscribe. We're giving you a little while to come in because we know that some of our viewers have been finding it difficult getting in because I'm not able to give you the link until the meeting actually starts. And by that time, once I've started the meeting, obviously I'm in the meeting and unable to do so. But please let me know you're in the house. Let me know where in the world you're watching us from. We are delighted to have you on board. As you can see, we've got Leader Bandaka who's rearing to go, and we are going to get going very, very, in fact, we are already going. So let's go over to the chat and see who we've got in the house. Please let me know if you're viewing. So we've got Audrey in the house, Hotep, Sister Audrey. We've got Sister Afrijamo in the house saying, greetings, Sister Shanice panel, real brothers and sisters in the chat, watching from Ghana. Rise up yourself, sis. As you heard, we're going to be celebrating Osaje Kwame Nkrumah, the star of Ghana. So please do put it out to the brothers and sisters in Ghana that we are going to be supporting him right here on the Sister Shanice show from Saturday onwards. Welcome, Asani, saying greetings, Sister Shanice. Welcome, Kimani, great to have you in the house. Welcome, Brother Richard, as well, great to have you. And also we want to welcome Blue Zodiac. Great to have you in the house. Yes, rise up, family. So if you're watching, please do let us know that you're watching. Give us a big up in the house. And hopefully you didn't have any problems or challenges coming in. You do have to wait until the meeting is started before you can log on now. And if you're not seeing the live button, you just need to refresh and then you'll find the live button. Rise up, Sheriff Ness is saying, got the notification 15 minutes late. Oh boy, but big up to both of us. Okay, but glad you got the notification. Ubuntu, rising up everybody all the time. Rise up, Ubuntu. Great to have you in the house. Great to have each and every one of you in the house. And, if you want to join the mailing list, just look back to the beginning of the video. I did flash up my email address that you can join so you can get notifications that way as well. Leon, great to have you in the house as well. Yes, we've got a powerful show tonight. You know, anytime Leader Bandaka in the house, I just beer bombs going to be dropping, pure educational knowledge. Wow. But before we go into topic, and the topic for today is the continuation in the series, Martyred Prophets Celebrated Martyred prophets, celebrated puppets, the history of politics in Africa. And today we're going to be focusing mainly on the Congo, around Patrice Lumumba, as well as Pierre Muleleli and Leonie Abu Meleli as well. Okay, but before we go into topic, you know, there's so much that's happening in our community on a daily basis. I just want to get some views and thoughts from our leader Bandaka on a couple of issues that have really impacted on me over the last couple of strongs. And one in particular is the ugly xenophobia in South Africa, which is rearing its ugly head again. There seems to be a movement that's growing in South Africa, a xenophobic movement whereby our South African brothers and sisters are calling their neighbors, separated only by these artificial boundaries, their neighbors, Zimbabweans, their brothers, their Zimbabwean brothers, they're calling them immigrants, and tortured one, burned a brother alive because they thought he was responsible for a crime, which it turned out he didn't even commit. You know, Brother Leader Bandaka, what would Kwame Nkrumah have said about something like this? Please take yourself off mute. And let's hear what you have to say, my brother, because it pains me.
Tendai Mwari. It's just heart-wrenching to say the very least. The Osaje for Kwame Nkrumah expended the best of his energies and his wisdom to wake up the African continent, indeed the African world, to the knowledge that we are one people, one nation with one cause and one purpose, and that there is no redemption for any one of us, whether individually or any one nation or any one indigenous tradition, without the rest of us. There's an African saying, there is no self to save without the rest of us. And the Osagyefo did his utmost to drive home that message of unity, as did the man who inspired him, the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who instructed us to unite, organize now or perish. And the sad and painful thing about this development, this atrocious development in Azania, South Africa, is that the whole African continent, including Zimbabwe, played significant roles in supporting the freedom fighters in Azania, South Africa, to fight for the ending of this vicious, evil system of apartheid. Africans from all over the African continent, Africans from all over the African world fought with our people.
Yes.
You know, engage in all kinds of political activism to support the effort on the ground to rid themselves of this evil, nasty system called apartheid. Now, that said, we must be clear that we must not label all our brothers and sisters in Azania with this, or tar, we won't use that terminology, but we don't want to label them with that xenophobic terminology, because I am confident that the overwhelming majority of Africans in Azania understand that this is wrong and understand that we are one people. Also, I do not believe this is happening by accident. I believe that it is by design. Those people who have been for centuries on the African continent, dominating African lives, oppressing African people, exploiting African people, degrading African people, have always used the system, the insidious, sinister system of divide and conquer, and they do it very well. And I should also remind us of the terminology that the concept of post-traumatic slavery syndrome. Post-Joy DeGrail has given us that terminology to help us to analyze and to understand the trauma that we have been through as a result of the Ma'afa, the hundreds of years of invasion, conquest, enslavement, colonization, and the wanton brutality of African human beings. And we bear the symptoms of post-traumatic trauma so that we turn against ourselves, because that's one of the symptoms of trauma. It causes us to turn against ourselves. Indeed, another behavioral expert, Mama Nana Sekhmet, otherwise known as Patricia Newton, uses the term post-traumatic slavery disorder, where she says that we have been neurologically rewired. The experience of slavery and the brutality of the colonization, the type of colonization we have been through as African people, has rewired our neurological system to the point that we are just messed up mentally and messed up emotionally. And as a result of that, we need healing. So we need to take all of this into account. Whilst we are taking responsibility for putting things right, we need to make these analyses and know it's not happening by accident. It's happening by design, directly or indirectly. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. And I have to agree with everything that you said there, Leader Bandaka, and I do believe it's by design as well. This individual that's been identified as being the leader of this movement against so-called foreigners, you know, that are targeting people who look like them in the mirror as foreigners. You know, the irony of it is that, you know, here in the UK, when a white person looks at an African, a black person, it doesn't matter if you're from the Caribbean, if you're from the continent, or from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Cameroon. It doesn't matter where you are from on the African continent, yeah, or where you are from in the Caribbean, or even if you live in Europe. When they look at you, what they see is a black woman or a black man. Just like when we look at Europeans, white Europeans, we see a white person. It's not until they open their mouth that you might be able to work out where in the white world they are from. But they see themselves as white people. And, you know, they unify on that basis of whiteness. What is the problem that we've got? Some of our South African brothers and sisters. I mean, if there's any South African brothers and sisters in the chat, please let me know. What is the problem that some of our brothers and sisters have with uniting with their own brothers and sisters? And why is it that they only see people who look like them as foreigners and not white people as foreigners? White people own over 80% of the land. They own the businesses. They own, you know, the means of production. They own the mineral wealth of the country. They're the ones who are exploiting the Africans and pushing you all into the shacks to live, while they have white-only areas that I've been reading about that you're not even allowed to visit unless you're a worker. Why do you not have a problem with that, but nevertheless have a problem with your own brothers and sisters who might have a little job? This brother had a gardening job. Absolutely terrible. But, you know, let me ask you your opinion on another topic, please, Brother Leader Bandaka. If you're talking, you're on mute.
Yeah, Sister Shanice, just by way of addressing the question, albeit a rhetorical question that you've asked, you know, why is it that we are so disposed? And I just want to evoke the spirit of a great African education psychologist. I think he's an education and social psychologist, the late Baba Asa Hilliard. He gave us these words to ponder. He says, mental bondage is invisible violence. Formal physical slavery has ended, but mental slavery continues to this day. This slavery affects the minds of our people, and in some ways is worse than physical slavery alone. That is to say, the person who is in mental bondage will be self-contained, not only will that person fail to challenge the beliefs and patterns of thought which control them, they will defend and protect these beliefs and patterns of thought virtually with their last dying effort. I submit that that answers your question, my sister.
Tendai Mwari, we're out of our minds. Oh. Many of us, like you said, the wires have been crossed. Dr. Abu would describe it as us having a program that's got a virus. It's like our minds have been reprogrammed with a virus in it. And wow, you know, we need to take back control of educating our people and our minds. Thank you for that. That quote there, very insightful. I think we all need to read up a bit more on the works of that great one that you quoted. I mean, there's another happening in the UK actually this time, my brother. I'd like to seek your views on this. The government has introduced a policy whereby it is welcoming people from Ukraine, you know, who they are saying, you know, if you're a Ukrainian refugee, come to England, you know, and they're encouraging all of the charities, the organizations, the government departments, everybody to open up their home, you know, and make a home available for Ukrainian refugee. The government has even allocated millions of pounds to make it available to families in England that welcome a Ukrainian refugee. And so there's this policy where they're legalizing refugees pouring into the UK, unlimited numbers, total uncapped. And this is a country that has zero tolerance usually for refugees. But at the same time, the same government has introduced a new policy whereby Africans and other non-whites who are fleeing war and terror in their countries across the Mediterranean, should they make it to the UK, the policy is that those people will be given a one-way ticket to Rwanda in Africa. And Rwanda has accepted, it seems, a large pot of money to supposedly process these refugee applications. I mean, what are your views on this, please, Leader Bandaka?
Well, Tendai Mwari, it utterly beggars belief. And one has to ask the question, is Rwanda a colony of Britain? It certainly is behaving as a colony of Britain. And even though it doesn't have that historical background, it has applied to become a member of the Commonwealth and has been granted Commonwealth membership. Rwanda has been under the thumb of the United Kingdom and the United States of America, who operate their control over Rwanda through its present president and government, many of whom, including President Kagame, their family having fled a program in Rwanda in the late 1950s. He was raised in refugee camps in Uganda. His family was a refugee in Uganda, and he was raised in a refugee camp. He went to schools that were controlled and funded and founded by Britain, America. He was also militarily trained. He was educated to a high standard in one of the best schools, which is a British school. In Tere, I think the name of the school is. And then he was trained militarily in the United States of America. And through him and through the Tony Blair Global Institute of Global Change, Rwanda is under the total control of the British government and the American government through the Clinton Foundation. That is the reality. And so there's a context for this. This is not happening in a vacuum. There's a geopolitical context to this development. And it's something that we need to be seriously concerned about. And I hope to touch a little bit on that in my major presentation, to see how Rwanda has been used even to attack the Congo, because there is a plan. Rwanda represents a particular plan, a particular experiment that the forces of global white supremacy, and in particular, America, the United States of America and Britain, are carrying out in Eastern Africa.
Wow, wow, wow. I won't go into it in any further detail, my brother, because you said you're going to be touching on it a bit more in your presentation. And I'm sure you'll be looking at, you know, the fact that Rwanda is a landlocked country and has got all borders with so many different African countries. It is, they are a threat. In my opinion, they're a threat to that region. But let me not, you know, anticipate what you're going to be presenting.
Britain runs Rwanda. Tony Blair and his Institute of Global Change is the modern equivalent of a governor who represented the Queen of Britain during colonial days. It's a neo-colonial construct. And Rwanda, in that regard, is a neo-colonial construct. And Tony Blair is effectively a governor.
My gosh, my goodness. I mean, what would Kwame Nkrumah have to say about this? I'm sure you'll be sharing those views from a Pan-Africanist perspective in your presentation. Okay, let me go over to the chat, and then we're going to come back to you, leader. I'll introduce you to those who maybe haven't met you before, and then I'll leave you to launch into your presentation for today. So family, those of you who are watching us, let me go over to the chat and see some of your comments. Great to have you all in the house. Oh, we've got Garnet, who's watching us from Sweden and sending us greetings from Sweden. Thank you so much. We've got Asani watching us from the Gambia. Rise up, Asani. Oh, we've got Mondeli as well. Yengame and Pimpa Kiambote. He says, Sister Shanice, thank you for a great show. Rise up, Brother Nuisi. Brother Nuisi has been dropping some presentations on the Sister Shanice radio show. Oh my gosh, you know, those are some we've had some phenomenal learning on those shows, family. And if you join Patreon, you'll be able to listen to the playback on some of those shows. If I was to start going through my notes of what we have been learning, it'll take a show in itself. So rise up, Brother Nuisi, for sharing there. Michael, great to have you in the house. Italis, saying SS, growth forward mindset, need deprogramming. Absolutely agree. Rise up, Leon, watching us from New Cross in London. And Aweli, rise up, rise up. Handmade homeware is greeting us from Ethiopia. Rise up, rise up. Aweli says, white people are not united by far. There is the greatest divisions between English and Irish, Welsh and Scottish. Oh yes, they are divided amongst themselves, but when it comes to the bigger picture, in my view, they're nowhere to pull together.
When it comes to white supremacist interests, they know when and how to unite, and they have the global mechanisms in place to unite, to protect global white supremacy and European imperialism.
Yes, global white terrorist interest. Them not supreme. We can't call them supreme. Sorry, no, them not supreme over we.
There's a reation why I use that term, but if we get the chance, I will, I will unravel that. But I hear where you're coming from.
Yes, man. No, we've got to speak into existence. This inferior race, not them come up with, is new or original. They are just imitators of the originators. But I allow you to
accept evil and wickedness, sis.
Accept evil and wickedness. Them supreme in that. Yeah, man. Thank you for qualifying that.
The white supremacy.
Yeah. So
That is white supremacy, but we'll come to that. Don't worry.
Yeah, yes, we'll deal with that, because you know, every time I hear it, you know, if I had horns, the horns would come out.
I understand.
Evil and wicked set of people who appear destruction on the earth. Yeah, anyway. Ubuntu, rise up, he says. Warrior Queen, Sister Shanice, my God, I have nothing but utmost respect for you, my sister. Your energy and drive is awesome. Vudum, back at you, Ubuntu. Thanks for giving me a bit of extra fuel there. Putting a bit of extra fuel in this old engine here. Thank you. Clive, rise up. Oh, it's Brother I Am. Rise up, Brother I Am. Glad to have you in the house. Yes, thank you, Sister Afrojamo, for reminding everyone to please give us a thumbs up, give us a like. Much appreciate love. It's absolutely free for you to do so. And Mudeli is saying a very sharp guess. I salute Brother Leader Bandaka. Oh, I absolutely salute him myself. Always a privilege to have him in the house. I'm always educated by his presentations. But some of you may be seeing our brother for the first time. So I just want to say a little bit about our brother Leader Bandaka. If you give me a moment. Leader Bandaka is a spiritual leader for the Al-Qaeda Revivalist movement, and he's delivered a number of riveting, Africated educational lectures here on this platform. And we love, you know, the interaction that he allows us to have, and you will be able to interact with him via the chat. So if you've got comments, thoughts, and opinions, please drop them via the chat. Brother Leader Bandaka is a nationalist, Pan-Africanist, and it's a liberation movement. And in addition to being a community activist and organizer for nearly 40 years, he is a proud father of 4 and grandfather of 10. Wow, absolutely phenomenal. And all of Brother Leader Bandaka's work is African-centered. He specializes in religion and spirituality, education and schooling, and African / Black history and culture, African family dynamics, and rites of passage. So family, if you're interested in an Africated education, if you're interested in African history, rites of passage, passing over ceremonies, naming ceremonies, our man is Leader Bandaka. He can do that for you live or also online. As part of his spiritual work, he revives and conducts African modes of worship and life cycle blessings, namings, passing over, marriages, and initiations. And so, you know, that's just a little bit about our brother Leader Bandaka. If we have time before the end of the show, I'll tell you more about Leader Bandaka. But for now, let me step aside and leave the show now and hand the show over to our brother Leader Bandaka for his presentation on tonight's topic.
Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. And as always, my beloved sister, I'm always thankful and grateful to the Creator and the ancestors, not only for life, for its meaning and purpose, for health and strength and daily food, for the rising of Amin Ra upon each day that we are blessed to consume the breath of life and to share that breath lovingly with each other. And in that context, beloved Sister Shanice, you have exuded such a power of love. You have used the power of your breath in such an awesome, life-enhancing, life-giving way for the last, I don't know how many years. You are an awesome, awesome African Queen Mother Goddess. I bow to you this evening. I bow to your divinity. I bow to your royalty. I hail your kingman who has stood by your side for a number of years. I respect that brother a great deal. I have to get that out before I say anything more, beloved Sister Shanice, because your work is just absolutely awesome. And we, as African people around the world, are blessed because you have been given to us. Give thanks and praises, and may the Creator continue to empower you in your sojourn.
Give thanks to my ancestors, my mother and father that brought me into the world. Give thanks to all of those that helped with my upbringing and grooming. And give thanks to those ancestors that are leading me in the spirit realm.
Bless you.
One love. Thank you, Brother Leader.
Tendai Mwari. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Tendai Mwari.
Ashe.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up, I hope, my, clicking this.
Share screen.
I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation because I think it's important, the images, the visual is going to be very, very important in terms of getting this message through to brothers and sisters. And this is a very serious message. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so we'll just give our leader an opportunity to.
Are you allowing me to screen share, my sister?
Yes, yes, just hit screen share as you did backstage. Yeah, that's the green one. And then once you've hit screen share, here we come, here we go.
Okay, then.
Now.
Right, I was clicking rather than double clicking.
Oh, okay. Now click the what do you call it? That knob down the bottom, or PowerPoint presentation, the one that'll give you the slideshow. That's it, slideshow. Now click slideshow, and you'll go into slideshow mode.
Right. Oh yes.
Start from first slide. Should be up there in the corner somewhere.
Yeah.
No. Or there's one at the bottom. There's one at the bottom that looks like a little TV screen that is usually there that you can use as well on your PowerPoint. I can't see it. Okay. Well, go back to home. Click home. Let me put this on big screen so that I can see it. Right. Full screen. Right. Click home.
Just did.
Okay, all right then. Where's it gone? Okay, go down the other end to slideshow. Go to slideshow. Yeah, click slideshow. Okay, and start from beginning. Click start from beginning. That's it there. Click. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we're in slideshow mode.
All right. Tendai Mwari. Yes, giving thanks and praises, and we give thanks and praises for all brothers and sisters who are viewing this program this evening. As you know, brothers and sisters, our topic is Martyred, Celebrated Puppets, the Deadly Politics of Africa. Bear with me, brothers and sisters, we have a lot to get through. This is a very, very important subject. I think this is the third, this is part 3 of a series of presentations that Sister Shanice kindly invited me to do, which I'm more than happy to do. And the first 2 we focused on Ghana and the Osage for Kwame Nkrumah and the deadly politics that was used to overthrow Kwame Nkrumah. And we hope that we demonstrated quite clearly how puppets were actually put in place to carry out the vicious evil deeds of their colonial masters. And so we started with Osage for Kwame Nkrumah because he was the person who spearheaded the anti-colonial movement, in the sense that he brought the first nation in so-called sub-Sahara Africa to independence, and powerfully demonstrated what the process of really building an African nation for and in the interest of African people looked like. So that's why we started with Osage for Kwame Nkrumah. because he was the spearhead. He was the father of the 20th century anti-colonial movement on the African continent. We want to submit, before we go any further, beloved brothers and sisters, and I know my sister Shanice has an issue, and I fully understand why Sister Shanice has an issue with this term, but bear with me for a moment, Sister Shanice, and bear with me, brothers and sisters, as I pray on the wisdom of two great African thinkers, Baba Neely Fuller and Mama Frances Cress Welsing. These are words of Baba Neely Fuller, which were popularized by Mama Frances Cress Welsing. And he said, and she oftentimes repeated these words, if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is and how it affects you, then everything else that you think you understand will only confuse you. She says the only form of functional racism that exists among the people of the known universe is white supremacy. Now notice she says here, the only functional racism, and she's talking about racism as a system that is implemented by Europeans, and a system that promotes the myth, but it's an ideology for white nations. The myth that white people plus white culture is greater, is better, is superior to Black people and Black culture. It is a system, and it is a system that they've implemented globally. And it's therefore a system that we need to understand in order to unravel that system. In order to destroy that system, we have to know that that system has been put in place, that it does exist. And she says, white supremacy operates in all areas of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. So what she's saying is, insofar as they dominate our lives, our institutions, they have permeated these institutions with the ideals and the ideology of white supremacy. The economic system of our nations are based on white supremacy. They are designed to inferiorize African people and superiorize Europeans. The educational, ditto the educational system, ditto the entertainment system, ditto the labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. It is all based upon reinforcing the false but power-backed notion that white people are superior. It is not a fact. It's not a fact. But it is a system, a false notion that is at the core of a system that they have implemented globally. And she's saying we must understand that system and how it works. The other concept I want to cement in our minds, and I did this for the first and second leg, I want to reinforce it again. This is another concept that we must understand to appreciate the politricks of Africa. And we call it the fundamental rule of global geopolitics, which is whoever controls Africa rules the world. Whoever controls Africa rules the world. Africa is the richest continent on the face of the earth that bears in greatest abundance the overwhelming majority, if not all, of the world's most coveted natural resources. So that whoever has a will to control, to rule the world, must, as a vital prerequisite, control Africa. To control Africa, you must conquer Africans. And that is why the world in which we live that is controlled by European imperialists driving the notion of global white supremacy, in that world, African people will always suffer oppression, exploitation, and degradation. In any nation that is dominated by European nations, based on the notions of European imperialism, undergirded by white supremacy, African people are always going to be in a state of oppression, because to control Africa, you must conquer Africans. We need to understand this. Here we're going to focus on the Democratic Republic of Congo, otherwise known as the DRC. And we submit that the Congo, as we call it, is a geological miracle in the heart of Africa. And we're focusing on the Congo following Ghana because we feel that, putting Ethiopia aside for a moment, because the history of Ethiopia is different in the sense that Ethiopia did not experience formal, official colonization in the way that other African nations did. There are other afflictions that Ethiopia has and still is experiencing, but not the colonial system in the way that other nations experience that colonial system. We submit that after Ghana, because of the leadership and the vision of the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, inspired by the black print of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey, that the next most important country in the process of liberating the African continent is the Congo, officially named the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is located in the center of Africa, and these are the reasons why we believe that it is the most important region or aspect of the African continent, next to Ghana, under Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, that should become independent. It has an area of 905,000 square miles, which is just shy of 1 million square miles. The second largest country in Africa after Algeria, the 11th largest country in the world. It has a population of 92 million, so that's nearly 100 million, the most populous, officially so-called Francophone country in the world. In other words, there is no country in the world that has a larger French-speaking population. Ain't that a paradox? Ain't that an enormous paradox? And we have some of its indigenous languages: Kikongo, Lingala, Kiswahili, and Teshiluba. There are further reasons why the Congo is so important. Congo, because of its coveted natural resources, it is almost 1 million square miles of the richest expanse of land on the planet. There is no expanse of land on the planet that is richer anywhere in the world, including the African continent, than the Congo. It has an estimated, we've got 24 trillion here, but some sources say 30 trillion. I've seen even $33 trillion worth of mineral resources. Now that's always a conservative estimate, beloved brothers and sisters, because new resources and sources of resources are being discovered all over the African continent, including the Congo, almost every day. Almost every day. So this is just a modest estimate of the wealth, the potential wealth of the Congo, rich in diamond, gold, silver, copper, oil, coltan, cobalt, manganese, iron ore, chrome, uranium. 80 million hectares, that's 307,000 square miles of arable land, the richest quality of agricultural land you can hope to find anywhere. that produces cassava, yam, palm, and a range of fruits and vegetation. It has millions of hectares of forestry, colossal sources of timber, and vast supplies of rubber. And of course, we know that the Congo rainforest is the second largest in the world. And the rainforest has a huge impact on the global ecology. This is what we need to understand. So the Congo itself has a huge impact on the global ecology. The Congo, and again, emphasizing again why the Congo is so fundamentally important. And this backdrop is extremely vital in understanding what we are about to unravel in terms of the history of the martyred prophets of the Congo and the celebrated puppets of the Congo, and why the Congo was so important. It is a strategic geographical location. It's in the center of the of Africa, bordered by 9 countries, including the Central African Republic, South Sudan, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Zambia, Angola. There's also Congo, the Republic of Congo. So you have the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is the Congo that we're talking about in the center of Africa. But to the west, or to the left of your screen, you will see that there is the Republic of Congo, a smaller country that was part of the ancient Bakongo Kingdom, mind you. But it's also one of the countries bordering the Congo. And so we submit that from the Congo, it is possible to liberate and govern the entire African continent because of its strategic location and also because of its tremendous wealth. Now, just touching on different phases, we know that where we call Congo today is just part of the ancient Bakongo Kingdom, which incorporated where we call Congo Brazzaville, or the Republic of Congo today. Angola was also part of the ancient Bakongo Empire, and other parts of the African continent. But bringing it closer to the time, this facet of Congo's history is also important for us to understand. 1870s, King Leopold II of Belgium, that devil, sponsored another devil named Henry Martin Stanley to undertake an exploration of the area. So basically, it was really searching throughout the Congo and exploring the Congo to find out where the rivers were, where the various strategic location, and where strategic mineral resources was located in the Congo. 1884-85 Berlin Conference, King Leopold II was given the rights of the Congo as his personal private property. In that vicious Berlin Conference, this individual, King of the Congo is over 80 times the size of Belgium. And this individual is given the Congo at the Berlin Conference, which was originally called the Congo Conference, because the 14 European countries that attended, or 15, that attended the Berlin Conference was about to go to war over the Congo. And the main drive of the conference was to prevent this war from happening. And as a compromise, the country was given as a personal property rather than to a nation, as a personal property to Leopold II, who then called it the Congo Free State, and that was a euphemism to say that the Congo was open to all the vultures of Europe to come and swoop freely and nyam the flesh of its people and its land, i.e. its natural resources. 1885 to 1908, the force publique, which is the Belgian army, was used to enforce brutal rubber production quotas. Brothers and sisters who know about the history of the Congo will know that these rubber quotas, these vicious rubber quotas, was characterized by or enforced by the chopping off of hands of Africans who failed or refused to meet quotas that were imposed upon them of rubber that they were supposed to have harvested and brought to the white oppressor for him to enrich himself. Some were actually beheaded. One of the systems that they used to traumatize our people was anyone who resisted was beheaded, and the head was put on a pole. And poles, these heads were lined up along pathways. So when people were going to the rubber fields, they would have to walk past these heads that were stuck on poles, so they know what would happen to them if they resisted. Hands were chopped off, beloved brothers and sisters. Pictures were taken of the victims holding their own hands. These brutal, vicious, barbaric deeds were done always in the presence of communities of African people, just for the sake of driving the fear of the devil in them, so that they did not fail to work their fingers to the bones for white enrichment, and they did not even dare think of resisting. In fact, in Belgium now, as a note of continued celebration, they have something called chocolate hands, which is a delicacy. And few people know that these chocolate hands are symbolic of the black hands that were chopped off in the Congo to enrich the country called Belgium. Here are pictures of two children. You can see their right hands are missing. Just observe that for a moment. I know this is harsh, and there's brothers and sisters, this is not an easy story to tell. But if these children could have suffered that kind of trauma and still somehow live, then we can just bear looking at the picture for a moment, so we know what our people suffered, what our people went through. This is when the Congo had been transformed from the Congo Free States to the Belgian Congo from 1908 to 1960. Such was the vicious nature of the system under Leopold II. And such was the rapidity of the rate at which Africans were dying, that there was, international report, and some say outcry, about the barbarism that was taking place in the Congo. And so the Belgian government took over the Congo from King Leopold II. And but the genocide continued, beloved brothers and sisters, at least until the 1920s. Now, when we say the genocide, we're talking about the rampant genocide, the rapid rate at which Africans were dying. The brutality continued right on into the 60s, when we'll come to that in a moment. But we're talking about the chopping off of hands and the level of brutality that was costing lives at a rapid rate. So Belgium therefore became the prime source of natural resources to boost the Belgian economy. Belgian resources also was vital to other European economies, as well as the Allied forces of World Wars I and II. And amongst the resources that were most demanded and coveted, apart from rubber, was diamond, uranium, cobalt. Brothers and sisters should know that uranium is a main component in nuclear technology, in the production of the atom bomb. No uranium, no nuclear technology, no atom bomb without uranium. And we'll come to cobalt in a moment, beloved brothers and sisters. Diamond is used for ornamental purposes, but there's also industrial diamonds that the Congo produces. It produces the best gems, and it produces also industrial diamond. Half of the population think about this for a moment. Half the population of the Congo by the 1920s had become extinct. Some sources say estimated at 10 million, some 15 million, some 20 million. We drop it in the middle and say it was around 15 million. Somewhere between 10 and 20 million people. Now we hear about the Jewish Holocaust, 6 million, 15 million, 15 million, and Africans in the Congo do not get the deference and the reverence that is shown to the Jews around the world. We come on, beloved brothers and sisters, to this great man. We hail him. We honor him. This great, divinely blessed son of Africa, visionary and freedom fighter, was to emerge in the 1950s. In fact, we've been blessed within the Al-Keblan revivalist movement to have had his, I think it was his grandnephew we had on one of our shows when we were on Voice of Africa Radio, who shared with us that his grandfather, Papa Patrice Lumumba's grandfather, was a Garveyite, Just think about that for a moment. In the Congo, the grandfather of Papa Patrice Lumumba was a staunch Garveyite. And we're just sketching the latter years of this great man and his outstanding contribution to the liberation of the African continent. On the 5th of October, Patrice Lumumba founded the Movement National Congolais. I think in English, that is the Congolese Nationalist Movement. I think in English, that's what it's called. Patrice Lumumba attended the All-African, in 1958, the All-African People's Conference, which was convened in Ghana. That was a pivotal moment in the in the life of Papa Patrice Lumumba. He was greatly inspired by the Osadjufo. So when he went to Ghana and met the Osadjufo and attended that conference, which was focused on empowering the liberation movements of the African continent and liberating the entire African continent, what he left there with is a passion for the immediate independence of the Congo, not a gradual independence, but the immediate independence of the Congo. He came back to the Congo and engaged in activism that mobilized young activists in different parts of the Congo, but mainly his main area of sojourn was what was called then Stanleyville, which is today called Kisangani, Tendai Mwari. And so he was arrested and sentenced to prison as a result of his mobilization of Congolese activists resisting the vicious, evil system of Belgian colonization. Now, those of you who saw the presentation on Ghana and the Osadjufo Common Crew may remember that he also suffered such a fate where he was arrested as it was approaching an election and put in prison in the very same way as Patrice Lumumba was put in prison. But then because of the pressure that mounted from the activism on the ground, the grassroots activism, after his party won a local election, they realized that Patrice Lumumba, in terms of his political sojourn, was unstoppable. They had to remove him from prison. 1960, there was a roundtable conference in Brussels on the 18th of January. This roundtable conference, beloved brothers and sisters, was where it was the declaration of Congo's independence was made. But do understand that according to sources, this was the conference at which the Belgians, the British, MI6, CIA, the USA CIA were present and were profiling the potential leaders of the Congo. So they invited the potential leaders of the Congo to this conference, roundtable conference, to discuss the future of the Congo. But the real purpose of that conference, according to sources, was to profile the individuals and see, to analyze, and to see who was for sale, who was not for sale. They came to the conclusion that Patrice Lumumba was completely incorruptible. That is the conclusion that they came to, that Patrice Lumumba was completely incorruptible. The independence of the Congo was scheduled for the 30th of June in 1960. And Patrice Lumumba, after elections where his party was the leading the most successful party, Patrice Lumumba became prime minister through that so-called democratic process. I said so-called because democracy is not a word that excites me at all. An African elder once said to me, why are we so excited about democracy when their democracy is stained with the blood of our ancestors, stained with the blood of our freedom fighters? That has never left me. The inauguration of the Congo's independence, the descendant of Leopold II, in fact, I think he's a great grandnephew of Leopold II, so-called King Baudouin, in his speech, insulted the spirit and the dignity of African people by saying the independence of the Congo, this is his speech now, is a crowning moment of the mission of King Leopold II undertaken by him with courageous tenacity and pursued with great perseverance by Belgium. So imagine that. That gives you a real sense of what the whole speech was about. He was praising this genocidal maniac of a great grand uncle who was chopping off hands and chopping off heads in the Congo, who was brutalizing and barbarizing African human beings, children as young as 5 and 6. Children as young as 5 and 6 suffered amputation because they were considered to be old enough. And this man came and insulted African dignity and African integrity by praising his uncle and claiming that he was so courageous. The worst thing is that the ceremonial president, now Papa Patrice Lumumba was the head of government. As the prime minister, he was the head of government. But Joseph Kasavubu, this character, was the ceremonial president. He got up and made his speech and thanked Baudouin for his insults and went on to say, Your Majesty's noble presence here on this memorable occasion, this memorable day, attests once again to your concern for our people you have loved and protected. Sorry, brothers and sisters. This was so touching.
Unbelievable.
That was his speech. That was his speech. Papa Patrice said, I'm not having any of this. Imagine now, he's the prime minister, head of government, but he wasn't scheduled to speak because they didn't trust him. They know they couldn't control him, so they didn't schedule him to speak. So he got up and just took the microphone and spoke. And these were his words: men and women of the Congo, victorious freedom fighters, I salute you in the name of the Congolese government. No Congolese will ever forget that independence was won in struggle. It was filled with tears, fire, and blood, and our wounds are too fresh and much too painful to be forgotten. He went on in the speech to say, the Congo's independence marks a decisive step towards the liberation of the entire African continent. We are going to show the world what the black man can do when he works in freedom. And we are going to make of the Congo the center of the sun's radiance for all of Africa. Listen to the speech, beloved brothers and sisters. He's not just talking about the liberation of the Congo now. He's talking about the liberation of Africa. Did you hear his words? That the Congo's independence marks a decisive step towards the liberation of the entire African continent. He knew what he had at his disposal in the Congo. We are going to show the world what the black man can do and the black woman. Let's add that in. When he works in freedom, and we are going to make of the Congo the center of the sun's radiance for all of Africa. We are going to keep watch over our lands, our country, so that they truly profit her children. We are going to restore ancient laws. Think about that, brothers and sisters. Our authentic teachings, our authentic laws, and make new ones which will be just and noble. That was his speech to his people. And and the place erupted. When Baudouin spoke, it was polite. When Kasavubu, polite, Angie. When Papa Patrice Lumumba, when he ended his speech, the place erupted. Not only did the venue erupt, but the whole Congo, according to reports, erupted. Wow. People in their homes, people were coming out in the streets, dancing and screaming. When he spoke, so he touched the heart and soul of the people. He touched the nerve of the people, and that sent shockwaves throughout the world. And so the vultures started to swoop down on the Congo, using shameless sellouts, betrayers in our midst. Belgium, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and the United Nations all moved swiftly using spineless traitors like Joseph Kasavubu, Moise Tshombe, Albert Kalonji. You're going to see a little bit more of them as we go on. The infamous Joseph Mobutu, as he was called then, but then changed his name to Mobutu Sese Seko, and others to assassinate Papa Patrice Lumumba. And they installed the corrupt and treacherous Mobutu to maintain in power by US and France for 32 years. And in those 32 years, he allowed the vultures of Europe and America to rape the Congo. And they allowed him to get his piece, to get his share. 5 billion, I think he was worth by the time he died. We go on with the Congo crisis. It's known as the Congo crisis. This period between 1960 and 1965 is known as the Congo crisis. Within days of the inauguration ceremony, the Force Publique, the Belgian army, orchestrated a mutiny and civil unrest. By the 11th of July, this sellout, once again, stool pigeon puppet by the name of Maurice Shumbe, seceded the diamond and copper rich Katanga area from the Congo, backed by Belgium. So he made a declaration, a unilateral declaration of independence, and tried to separate Katanga, to balkanize the Congo and weaken, because the Katanga is a particularly rich area in the Congo. Whilst he was doing his insidious deeds, and another traitor named Albert Kalonji declared a cessation of the mineral-rich South Kasai. Now, let me just back up a little bit, brothers and sisters. That area in green is Katanga, very rich part of the Congo. And the area in blue is Kasai. And South Kasai is the region that he attempted to secede from the Congo. Moving quickly on, we have a lot to get through, brothers and sisters, and I want to finish in time so that we can have questions, comments, or Sister Shanice, as I move on, if you want to intervene, please don't hesitate to do so. Congo crisis. By the 5th of September, Kasavubu unconstitutionally dismissed Patrice Lumumba. Now, he's acting on the instructions and the directions he's getting from the Belgian government, from the US government in the main. But there were other European forces that were present on the ground, like Britain, like France, and the United Nations was also colluding with these invaders. This is Mobutu. On the 14th of September, Mobutu, backed by the US and Belgium, launched a coup which removed Papa Patrice Lumumba. Papa Patrice Lumumba had to escape and go in hiding. He was eventually caught, beloved brothers and sisters, on the 17th of January 1961, after brutally torturing and beating him, Maurice Mpolo, Joseph Okito. Those 3 men were put before a firing squad, half dead as they were. They were shot to death. Their bodies were buried, exhumed. The bodies were chopped up in pieces. That's what we mean thereby dismembered. Doused with sulfuric acid, and then incinerated. Papa Patrice Lumumba's gold tooth was taken. We call these great men who stood by Papa Lumumba. We need to know their names. As much as we need to know the names of the traitors, we need to know the names of the puppets, the celebrated puppets. And they were paid well, they were paid handsomely. But more importantly, we need to know the names of the heroes. These 2 men would not leave Papa Patrice Lumumba's side. and I always hear them. They knew they were going to die. But they decided this man, whatever they're going to do to this man, he's not going to be on his own. So Maurice Mpolo, who was the Minister of Sport and Youth, was assassinated with Papa Patrice Lumumba. Joseph Okito, who was Vice President of the Senate, was also assassinated. Antoine Gizenga was imprisoned because he had set up a government, a rebel government in so-called Standerville, which was a stronghold for Papa Patrice Lumumba and his party. This is the great Pierre Mulele. Shanice mentioned him earlier on. Pierre Mulele, this is a great man, brothers and sisters. You need to know this name. This name is not known enough. He led a Lumumbist resistance, which was called the Simba Rebellion. Simba means lion. The Lion Rebellion, which actually started, we've got Kivu there, but it actually started in Kwilu, in the kind of southwest of the Congo. You'll see where that is situated in a minute. Yeah, in a matter of weeks, the Simba Rebellion had captured over half of the Congo, beloved brothers and sisters. Mobutu's forces had no resistance. Think about this, brothers and sisters. We almost retook the Congo. Yeah. Need to know that Pierre Mulele was the Minister of Education in Papa Patrice Lumumba's government before the government was toppled. Victory was inevitable, but for the forces of global white supremacy backing Mobutu. The rebellion was brutally crushed and Mulele publicly tortured. Now, think about this for a moment. You ready for this? His limbs were torn from his body whilst he was alive. I'm saying it to us, brothers and sisters, because he suffered this. We're hearing about it and it's gruesome, but he suffered it. He was chained up in public. His eyes were gouged out. His ears were severed. His fingers were torn from his body. His arms, his legs were torn from his body. Somehow, he remained alive. There was still life in him when they threw him, his head and torso, in the Congo River. We need to know the vicious, evil nature of the beast that we are up against. And we also need to know what our freedom fighters have suffered and why we cannot squander the sacrifices that they have made. This beautiful African queen is the wife, Sister Leonie Abo Mulele, the wife of Pierre Mulele, freedom fighter, awesome, awesome African queen. She's written a book, the title of which I don't recall at the moment. But she's a powerful, powerful African queen who fought alongside her king to free the Congo between 1963 and 1965. Now, this is the area, this is the Congo. The area in red is the area that the Simba Rebellion had captured. The area in yellow is the Kwilu area where the Simba Rebellion really actually started, and then moved across to Kivu, and you'll see very shortly, you'll see in a minute where Kivu is. It's on the east coast, and Ituri. Let me move on. Here we have Kivu, North Kivu, South Kivu, Ituri. This is the region. This region is known for its traditionalists. And in fact, the Simba Rebellion was a very traditionalist rebellion. The Simba Rebellion didn't only go up against government officials, it went up against an army, army personnel, police. They were taking out everything and everybody, but they were also burning churches. They were burning churches, destroying churches to get rid of this alien religion out of our country. They actually earmarked churches to burn them to the ground. Very traditionalist movement, very spirited movement. And if you understand anything about what is happening in the Congo today, and the violence and the raping that is taking place, it is happening predominantly on the eastern side of the Congo, in Kivu and Ituri, mainly Kivu, but also Ituri. And that is clearly to totally destroy the revolutionary spirit, the traditionalist revolutionary spirit that still exists in that region of the Congo, and which gave rise and momentum to a rebellion that took half of the Congo by 1965, and would have taken all of the Congo had it not been for the forces of European imperialism. Moving swiftly on, beloved brothers and sisters, I know time is a challenge. This is Brother Laurent Kabila. As you can see here, he was the deputy commander of the Balubakat pro-Lumumba youth wing of the General Association of the Baluba people of Katanga. So whilst Maus Tshombe and his secessionist forces was doing their insidious deeds in Katanga, he and his movement were fighting to maintain the Lumumbist vision in Katanga. He was resisting Tshombe. As you see here, he was supported by hardline Lumumbist Prosper Mwamba Ilunga of the Council National de Libération. And then you have, he went to Eastern Congo, Kivu. Kivu features again, brothers and sisters. That was a fertile ground for revolutionaries, fertile ground for liberationists, and North Katanga province to organize revolutions. In 1965, Kabila set up a cross-border rebel operation from Kigoma, Tanzania, sorry, I get a bit tongue-tied here, sisters and brothers. From Kigoma, Tanzania, across Lake Tanganyika, 1967, Kabila and supporters moved into South Kivu, founded the People's Revolutionary Party, created a secessionist Marxist state. So they actually created a state in Kivu. 1988, the PRP state came to an end. Kabila disappeared and was widely believed to be dead. This is Ken Tshisekedi, a name we need to know, not because he was a good person, but because he was treacherous. He was a former advisor to Lumumba, who betrayed Papa Lumumba and joined with the infamous Albert Kalonji in their secessionist misdeeds. He served as Minister of Justice in that criminal breakaway state. He supported Mobutu's coup and plot and toppled and assassinated Papa Patrice Lumumba. He was behind Mobutu, as Mobutu was carrying out his murderous deeds in the Congo as well. Thousands, hundreds of thousands over the years of our people were slaughtered by Patrice Lumumba. He was a high-ranking member of Mobutu's, by Mobutu. He was a high-ranking member of Mobutu's government, including in the 1990s, being prime minister. And then he founded the Union of Democratic and Social Progress because he fell out with Lumumba with Mobutu, largely because he felt he was brighter than Mobutu. He was more qualified than Mobutu. He thought it was his time now to become president of the Congo, and Mobutu would not give way. He fell out with Mobutu, started his own party, and made several failed attempts to become president. These are, and we're going to quickly go through this, these are the assassins and the conspirators. This character, this devil, and note his name, how close it is to the word devil. Larry Devlin, a CIA station chief. He was a CIA station chief in the Congo, beloved brothers and sisters. And he says in one documentary, I had a letter saying that the people in Washington were concerned about the activities of the prime minister, and they hoped that he could be changed. The next thing I knew was I received a cable saying, remove him physically, meaning, that word should be meaning to assassinate Lumumba. I asked first, whose instructions are these? And he said, they came from Eisenhower. The president wanted it done, and I was to put these poisons together to bring them out to you. So this character was given a number of different poisons to assassinate Papa Patrice Lumumba covertly. One of the poisons was to be injected in his toothpaste that would cripple him, and then over a short period of time, his body would waste away and he would die. That was one of the poisons. They decided against it because it could have caught other members of his family, other people who may be in his home, and then it may become an issue that could be investigated, and they could have traced it back to the source from whence it came. This is another devil, brothers and sisters, named Colonel Louis Mallier of the Belgian Secret Services. And he said in this documentary, yes, my contact was with Larry Devlin. So he was working with Larry Devlin. We got on very well, and we did some things together. It was agreed that we would put listening devices in Lumumba's office. The Americans provided the equipment and the Belgians installed it. We intercepted all of Lumumba's telephone conversations. They, the Americans, were in favor of eliminating him. They wanted to send me a crocodile killer to get rid of Lumumba. Then he laughs. I never opposed it. Another devil, Gerald Belgian police. Here I have what is left, listen to this, brothers and sisters, what is left of a very important historical figure. He had very good teeth, and he's laughing when he's saying this, brothers and sisters, and grinning, smiling, grinning like a Cheshire cat. They're covered with gold at the back. So he yanked out Papa Lumumba's teeth. We don't know if he did it. They did it when he was alive, or they did it when after he had passed. For me, the business with Lumumba started the day after execution. The man in charge, the Belgian, called me into his office and said, "Okay, are you going to take care of this? We cut the bodies up into pieces. We burnt them. And we also had huge quantities of acid. But we had to do all this without the blacks seeing. So notice, brothers and sisters, even though there were Africans colluding with all of this, I hope we can see clearly where the orders were coming from, where the directives were coming from, who was in charge of operations. I hope we can see this clearly, beloved brothers and sisters. It is so much so that they took full charge of the disposal of Papa Patrice Lumumba's body, and they did it so that the blacks, so-called blacks, would not see it. There are even people, he said jokingly, who believe that he will return. Now he'll have to come back with 2 front teeth missing. It's a joke to them. They kill our leader, they kill our father, they kill our king, they murder our king. And they come in documentaries that they know are going around the world. There's such impunity that they are able to enjoy, that they can go on documentaries and speak openly about their evil, savage deeds. Yeah, and insult the very spirit of Papa Patrice Lumumba, our king who died for us. And they get away with it. Now the devil, Herman Cohen, U.S. National Security Council, African Affairs Director. There were only 2, and he's giving now the rationale for why they assassinated Patrice Lumumba and why they wreaked the havoc that they did in the Congo. There were only 2 countries in the world that supplied cobalt, and that was the Congo and the Soviet Union. Cobalt was extremely important for our jet engines and all sorts of high technology, and we could not get it from the Soviet Union. So the Congo was our only source. That's their rationale for the barbarism that they heaped on the people of the Congo and on Papa Patrice Lumumba, Joseph Okito, Maurice Mpolo, and others. Think about it, beloved brothers and sisters. And I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, the atrocities continue today. The demand for cobalt, with the advancement of science and technology and the move from fossil fuel to other forms of technology, demands a much higher amount of cobalt. Cobalt is in much greater demand today than ever before, and the demand is increasing, and African people, especially young people, including children, are having to go down in mines and dig out mines with their hands. And they use children because some of the pathways in the mines are so small that adults can't go in, or adult hands cannot go in. So they send children. Children are dying in these mines in the Congo for the sake of the acquisition of cobalt. Today, coltan is another coveted natural resource that Africans are dying, and the demand for it to maintain the production of mobile phones and flat screen TVs and iPads and the likes, right? With the 4th industrial revolution now dawning, beloved brothers and sisters, the demand for these natural resources are much, much greater. And so more Africans are going to die at a much higher rate. Moving swiftly on, brothers and sisters. Sister Juliana Lumumba, daughter of Papa Patrice. Look at this beautiful African queen. Look at the regality of this beautiful African queen. And she talks about her father. She says, I think this image, and she was talking about those same devils that we just featured. And in particular, the one who spoke, the one we featured last. I think this image recalls the Holocaust. Their bodies were burned. Their body fat was used as fertilizer. Their gold teeth were taken as war booty. And that's called crime against humanity. This is the British connection in the Congo. One Major General Henry Templar Alexander, who took command of the Ghanaian army when the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah sent troops to the Congo to help Papa Patrice Lumumba. And he took charge of the troops under the United Nations and used the troops against Papa Patrice Lumumba with the collusion of this despicable character named so-called General Joseph Arthur Ankara from the Ghana Army. Those of you who heard my presentation on Ghana may recall his name and his face colluded with the assassins and the conspirators. Later he was involved in toppling the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. And brothers and sisters, he's on record saying that, giving us his rationale, that his loyalty was with the British who trained him. We're almost there. Laurent Kabila, 1996-97, hadn't given up, brothers and sisters. He led the first Congo War to overthrow Mobutu with the help of Rwanda and Ugandan troops. Little did he know that there was another agenda, because their intervention was funded by, according to records, by the United States and Britain. 1998 to 2003 was the second Congo War. Second Congo War to remove, where now Kabila, who had asked the Rwandans and the Ugandans to go back to their country, they refused to go back to their country because they were taking orders from the British and the Americans. And so that sparked a war for the liberation of the Congo. In the course of that war, he was assassinated. It says here the 18th, some sources said the 16th. But what's interesting, beloved brothers and sisters, that this was almost to the day, the 40th anniversary of the assassination of Papa Patrice Lumumba, who was assassinated on the 17th of January in 1961. This is Joseph Kabila, the son of Laurent Kabila, but I put here in brackets arguably, because a number of Congolese activists I've had the honor to meet are saying that he is not the son of Kabila, that he is the stepson of Kabila, which really under normal circumstances in African tradition makes no difference. But for the fact that they advise that he is not of the spirit of Laurent Kabila, that he was under the spell of the same foreign imperialist forces working to hand over the Congo or maintain foreign domination and foreign intervention in the Congo. And some sources believe that he was implicated in his quote-unquote father's assassination. I am not saying that that is the case, but that charge has been made. And I'm worried. This is the present president of the Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, the incumbent president, who is the son and heir of the legacy of Etienne Tshisekedi. an enemy of Papa Patrice Lumumba, an aide to the treasonous Mobutu, puppet of the West. And if we look at what is unfolding in the Congo today, we hear reports of him sending military personnel to America to be trained, and having agreed, amongst other things, to AFRICOM establishing a command center in the Congo. But he is his father's son. And you will recall with the Ghana Lumumba the Ghana Nkrumah presentation, beloved brothers and sisters, that the present president of Ghana is the son of one of Papa Nkrumah arch enemies. Can we see what's going on here, beloved brothers and sisters? Can we see what's going on here? And I'm worried. We're almost there. Lumumba lives, says Malcolm X, who described Papa Patrice Lumumba as the greatest Black man who ever walked the African continent. It's supposed to be, I don't know where it is, but there's supposed to be a slide of the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, beloved brothers and sisters, with a book title, Challenge of the Congo, because he actually wrote a book. We understand that he cried. He cried, he shed tears over what happened to Papa Patrice Lumumba and what happened to the Congo. And he wrote a book. It's a brilliant, brilliant informative source on what transpired in the Congo. I'm proud to say I've got a copy of it on my bookshelf. And finally, beloved brothers and sisters, I don't know what went wrong, but I'm closing with the words of Papa Patrice Lumumba himself, which is supposed to be up on your screens, but it isn't. So let me just read from the letter that he wrote. And this is the last 2 paragraphs of the letter that he wrote to his wife, Mama Pauline, before he was so savagely snatched from our presence. He said, "Neither brutal assault, nor cruel mistreatment, nor torture have ever led me to beg for mercy. I prefer to die with my head held high, unshakable faith, and the greatest confidence in the destiny of my country, rather than live in slavery and contempt for sacred principles. History," he says, "will one day have its say. It will not be the history taught in the United Nations, Washington, Paris, or Brussels, however, but it will be the history taught in the countries that have rid themselves of colonialism and its puppets. Africa will write its own history, and both north and south of the Sahara, it will be a history full of glory and destiny. Do not weep, my companion. Do not weep for me, my companion. I know that my country now, suffering so much, will be able to defend its independence and its freedom. Long live the Congo. Long live Africa." In the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, unite, organize now or perish. Rise, you mighty African people, for you can accomplish whatever you will. Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Papa Patrice Lumumba. What an African king. What a man. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, Leader Bandaka, thank you so, so much for that presentation. You know, I knew it was going to be deeply insightful and educational, but I didn't realize just how moving it was going to be. You know, my heart bleeds for Patrice Lumumba and those who perished with him, and my heart bleeds for the whole of Congo as well. And again, another example of how, you know, the enemy is within, you know, because these external evil, wicked demons could not do all of what they do without us without us having the colluders and the traitors within our camps. And, you know, these traitors, these assassins, continue to live out their life and enjoy great power, great wealth and protection whilst the people suffer. You know, and there's a lot of us who don't fully understand the politics of Africa. We see the suffering, we see the impoverishment of the people, we see the chaos, we see the proxy wars, we see, you know, what we are shown. But wow, Leader Bandaka, you gave us some real, truthful, some hard truths and some deep insights today. And may, you know, the name of Patrice Lumumba and all of those greats that suffered with him, Bilia, Pierre Mulele, you know, the Laurent Kabila, and those greats that suffered alongside him, who gave their life for their countries. May their name be remembered for eternity and be upheld, you know, in great esteem. And may those treasonous, wicked, evil, demonic ones, you know, be known for the traitors that they are. You know, there's been a lot of conversation happening in the chat. I know we've gone over time. I have to apologize because I was ticked off as well in my WhatsApp and told the preamble was far too long. And it certainly was, because now I've eaten into the time for Q&A. But if our audience is prepared to stay with us, let me bring some of their comments from the chat and give you the opportunity to comment where you want to do so, my brother. But I have been so deeply moved by your presentation. It is definitely, you know, the content that all Pan-Africanists, you know, need to be aware of. We need to be studying our history from our perspective, because what happens is otherwise we're given a glossy history by our adversaries. Let me go to the chat and pick up on some of the comments from there. Starting from the bottom up, Sheriff S is saying, does anyone know where the Congo Queen lived? She was begging us to return to the Congo and was offering land. Brother Wilfred is rising you up, Leader Bandaka, and thanking you. Dennis Black saying, blessings, brother, excellent, excellent show. You know, I'm crying with you, Sister V. I'm crying with you. My heart is crying right now. Dr. Wilfred is asking for a copy of the presentation. You have it here, my brother, embedded in this show this evening. Tuka Pamoja, excellent, Brother Bandaka. DJ Jamaican Drunko, good to have you in the house, saying excellent show, very inspiring. Ubuntu is saying, my loyalty is to the British indeed. That just shows us the state of mindset of certain traitorous Africans. Brilliant presentation, Brother Leader Bandaka. More strength to you, my brother. Jamaican Drunko, shocked as we're all shocked at hearing the details. And Mr. Wilfred is saying they dig graves anywhere and bury these children. Some of their parents do not even know which grave. They only hear their children died and was buried. And I think that's probably came in when you were talking about the small children who are used to dig out the cobalt and who die digging out the cobalt for the TVs, flat screen TVs and mobile phones. We all, every African needs to hear this, watch this presentation and hear the real history and what's happening, what happened and what is still happening today in the Congo. Let's see if we've got any questions. S.A. Smith is saying, it made sense to them to kill for power and resources. For them, it's not personal, just business. They don't see us as humans or to care about. Exactly. Let's see what else we've got. The sheriffs, this is why they are fighting with Russia now for the cobalt. Tuka Pomoja is saying, I bet all these devils live long and prosperous lives. I bet they do. Just makes you wonder. The more the more of a devil you are, the more you seem to live longer. Wow, that is definitely what it appears, especially when you've got the demons and the devils and the Satans backing you in your corner. Mr. Bandaka, do you have any books recommendations for us? Let us know which books. Yeah, that's one question. Thanks for that. Mudeli is saying, what are your prescriptions for the common Congolese to stop? As from 1997 to now, 12 million Congolese, over 10% of the population wiped out. Oh my God. What would your remedy be to make the Congolese lives, our lives, less dispensable? Let's go over to you for a response to that question and the one for books and guidance, Brother Leader. Where do we go from here?
Oh, Tendai Moari. Brothers and sisters, when I contemplate on the issue of solutions for African people, when I'm asked a question about solutions, I always go to the one primary source, the Black Print, which was given to us by the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We need to study what Papa Garvey did and how he approached the vision and the plan for the liberation of African people worldwide, because we have not seen anything like it before nor since. And so powerful was his reach and the effectiveness of his work that it mobilized millions. Now, I know that the common estimate, most popular estimate is 6 million. But if you read Philosophy and Opinion of Marcus Garvey, volume 3, which is a very hard book to get, if you read that book, it tells you that the estimated membership, global membership, was 11 million. 11 million. And if you, in the words of Baba John Henry Clark, an esteemed historian, the late Baba John Henry Clark, he says, whatever figure we agree upon, add 2 million more to that, for the amount of Garveyite movements and organizations that were not chartered. People just organizing in the name of Papa Garvey all over the world and never really registered themselves with a parent body. There were millions around the world. I suspect that Papa Lumumba's grandfather, who I referred to earlier on, was one of them. Yeah. So so that's one thing. We've got to study the works of Papa Garvey, but don't just study it. We have got to organize, to put in place, to revive the Black Print, which in short means nation building. Nation building means we organize ourselves as a nation of people. Wherever we find ourselves in the world, as Papa Garvey instructed us, we must organize ourselves as a nation of people. So we need a central body that represents, that is the voice and the representative body of African people domiciled here in the UK. And anywhere that we find ourselves, at the level of the people, the level of the grassroots, yeah, we must organize ourselves around nation building principles, which means that we organize a system of governance, apart from what the government of the land is and is about. we are organizing amongst ourselves our own national system of governance, our own national economic system, our own national social order, our own national educational system, our own national science and technological system. We have to be that serious. We have to be that serious. And to impact on the African continent, again, wherever we are, we have to be organized that well. Our brothers and sisters on the African continent must also organize. You see, the UNIA established a provisional government. It's a provisional government. We have to organize provisional governments wherever we are. And then we link up those provisional governments globally. That's when we're going to really have the global force that we need. And that's when we're going to be able to impact on the Mickey Mouse governments that we have on the African continent and in the Caribbean and other parts of the world that do not represent us. They're neo-colonial constructs. So that's the best, organize the best way we can, wherever we are, because it will impact the motherland. Tendai
Mwari. Critical also to add to that is our unity. Wherever we are in the world, we must unify as a people. At the beginning of the show today, we talked about the senseless murder of a Zimbabwean in South Africa, because the brothers in South Africa saw this Zimbabwean who, you know, is still born on the continent. They saw him as a foreigner. You know, we have to start looking in the mirror and realizing that we are one people. We're all from the same root. We may, you know, have been born in different parts of the world, but we are one people. We have to unify. And that is, you know, exactly what, as you said, Papa Garvey and Patrice Lumumba and Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah were all about the unity of Africa. Because divided Africa is weak, but united we are strong. No one African country. Look at how we heard tonight how the Congo tried to form armies and fight. You know, no one country on its own is going to be able to defeat, you know, these demons, these wicked, evil people who have strategically positioned themselves all over the continent. The continent is going to have to stand together. And until that happens, we will continue to be taken out in our millions. Someone mentioned in the chat, I was looking through the comments and mentioned that, you know, what's happened and what you described about what happened in the Congo is a copy and paste of the genocide that happened, you know, in America, to the indigenous people of America, to the indigenous people of Australia. This is, you know, a copy and paste method that they use for taking over large swathes of land, whole continents, countries, you know, and it's still happening today. And we've still got those who are colluding with our oppressors today. So, you know, someone mentioned the late, great Magufuli, you know, also someone, they said, who they think was taken out by the oppressors. And when are our Pan-Africanist leaders going to learn not to go to meetings with the oppressors? Because as we learned today, their objective is to suss them out, is to determine whether they can use them or not, to determine whether they think this leader is a threat or not. And our leaders willingly go to these meetings not realizing that they're being profiled. Leader Bandakra, let me go over to you to wrap up there. I mean, there's much more that's been said in the chat. I want to thank everybody for your comments. There was a question asking about a book. Also, Rise Up Free the Info says that she's in a book. This must be Patrice Lumumba's wife. She's in a book called Abu Uni Femi du Congo by Ludu Martens. So please make a note of that. Family, sounds as though it's in French though. Not sure if there's one that is has been translated into English. Wow, wow, wow. Seeing Charles says, yes, we need to know these things. Africa needs to tell its story to its people without sugarcoating it. This is powerful information. It certainly has been very moving, very powerful. And there's so much to learn, Brother Leader, from your presentation today. This is what we ought to be teaching in all of our schools, all of our colleges, and all of our university. There was one comment that said that this is like a live horror story, and they lived it. They experienced it. We're just talking about it, and it hurts so much just to talk about it. But it's the truth, and let the truth be told.
Yeah.
Brother Leader, let me go over to you for your closing remarks, please.
Yeah, Tendai Mwari. Yeah, bless you, beloved brothers and sisters, for all of your comments and commendations. I humble myself to every word of love and appreciation that has been spoken. My work for my people is out of a profound sense of duty. I live my life for the liberation of my people, and I will die for the liberation of my people. And we all, brothers and sisters, must give our all, because otherwise our children have no future. This is what we have to remember. To the beloved brother or sister who asked for the book title, one of the best books on the Congo is this book that I mentioned earlier on. Challenge of the Congo. Challenge of the Congo by Kwame Nkrumah. Okay, I advise you to read this book. I think this one is still obtainable. This is a very old book, but I think it's still obtainable. This one is just called Patrice Lumumba by Panaf Books. I don't know if it's still obtainable, but I bought this book, gosh, in the mid-80s, maybe about 1985. So I don't know if this book is still available, but if you can get it, it's worth getting. There's a lot of stuff online as well. A lot of videos on YouTube. Brothers and sisters, I would encourage you to go online. I read the letter that I read from the letter that Patrice Lumumba wrote to his wife, Mama Pauline. That's obtainable online. Just tap in Patrice Lumumba's letter to his wife. It will come up. Also, his speech, his full speech, that's obtainable online as well, beloved. His full speech at the Independence is obtainable online. So I would encourage you to go online, get the speech, because, we need to let these devils know that you can kill the flesh, but you can't kill the spirit. You can't kill the ideas. And he left these words with us. When he wrote to his wife, he wasn't just writing to his wife, he was writing to all of us. He knew that if it got to her, it would get to us. Just think about this man facing death, and he's thinking about our liberation. Just think about that for 1 second, beloved brothers. He ain't crying, oh, they're going to kill me, Lord. I'm dead, no, Lord. I'm dead, no, God, help me. Help me, my wife. Go call somebody to help me. Save me from the vision. No, it was none of that. He found the time to write a letter to inspire his wife, to comfort her. Said, don't weep, please don't weep for me. And tell the children that they have a responsibility. That was what was on his mind as he faced death. That was what was on his mind. I'm saying, brothers and sisters, these men and women who have made these great sacrifices for our liberation, their blood must not shed in vain. We must not allow their blood to shed in vain. Somebody sent a text asking on our movement phone, where did I get my name from? I got my name from the Congo. There's a place in the Congo called Mbandaka, and it is near the Congo River. Yes, yeah. Yes, yes, near the rainforest. That is correct. And I'll tell you how I got that name. It's thanks to the Pan-African Congress movement. When I came on Liberation Road in 1983, I attended a lot of meetings with the Pan-African Congress movement, and I was a keen supporter before, and I'm still a supporter of the Pan-African Congress movement. I'll be eternally grateful to that organization for what it has done for me. And there was an event called African Heroes Day. And I was given the task to do a paper and to present a paper on Papa Patrice Lumumba. That was the hero I was given. I put my name forward to do a presentation if they so wish, and they gave me that. I was selected to do Papa Patrice Lumumba. And I tell you, when I did that study on Papa Patrice Lumumba for the first time, there was no internet those days. And all this fancy stuff that we have now. It was books. It was books and interviewing people from the Congo. And I tell you, I was moved to tears. I broke down. That's why I love this man so much. I love Papa Patrice Lumumba profoundly, because I see purity in his spirit, in his soul, and mine connects with him. So that's why I took the name Mbandaka, because it was in the Congo. The Congo is in the center of Africa. And it was my way of connecting with the spirit of Papa Patrice Lumumba and all of our people in the Congo who have suffered, who have died, who have been brutalized. I identify firmly and strongly with those beloved brothers and sisters in the Congo. And so it's my prayer that my soul will return to the center of the motherland and the soul of all our people. And it's my pledge that anywhere that I go, I will carry the name. I will tell the story of Africa. I will tell the story of the Congo from the center of the motherland. Remember, the Congo is in the center of the motherland, the geological miracle in the heart of Africa. We are under attack because of the divine endowments that we have been given. We were chosen to be the first people of the first land, and we were given the wealth, the greatest wealth of the universe. The Creator gave us that for a reason, and somebody decides that we must not have the benefit of that. Whoever controls Africa rules the world. Imagine if Africans control Africa. And that's why they must oppress us. They must exploit us. Because if we ourselves ever control Africa, it's all over for them. We would rule the world. And they would have some serious questions to answer. So they'll do anything in their power to keep us oppressed. They know who we are even more than we do. Let us remember that, beloved brothers. We are great people. We're powerful people.
Thanks, Tendai Mwari.
So in closing, let me just close, Sister Shanice, in saying, I love you all, beloved brothers and sisters. That's why I do this. And I know you love all our people. You love me, you love Sister Shanice. And I want to thank you for supporting Sister Shanice and what she's doing. She's a great African queen. And we must rally behind her and strengthen her and allow no one or anything to come up against her. We have to protect her because of the work that she's doing for our people. I take it personally. Whatever you do to my people, I take it personally. If you do good, I love you for it. If you do ill to my people, I despise you for it. Yeah? And so, brothers and sisters, we must unite. Beloved, unity does not happen in a vacuum. It happens through the building of institutions. We have to build the institutions that organizes the unity among our people. And unity cannot just be in principle. There has to be principled unity, but there also has to be operational unity, and it's through the institutions that we operate in unity, that enables us to operate in unity. So we need to build, we need to get into nation building. And that was what the vision of INAP, if you've ever heard of the Interim National African People's Parliament, that was the vision, to organize our people as a nation. We started in 2011 and it fell off around about 2015, and it kept going for a while until about 2016, 2017. The apparatus is still there. We still have the draft constitution that was not completed. We still have a draft manifesto that was not completed. We still have a bank account with money in it. And it's all just waiting there for the people to say, look, we're ready. We are ready now to get into nation building in a serious way. So beloved brothers and sisters, we must hunger and thirst for that unity and for that national organization. We must hunger and thirst for nation building. We must demand it. Demand it of ourselves. Demand it of those who organize in our names and on our behalf. Demand that we press forward with the nation building vision. I close again with the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, as I call upon the ancestors and the Creator once again to bless us all, to strengthen us. In Kanamwari Adab, by the grace of the Almighty, I will be addressing you again when Sister Shanice has invited me, and I will be proud to do so. So we call upon the Creator to bless you all, to strengthen you, to purify our hearts and souls so we can be kind and loving to each other and caring to each other. That when I look at you, I see me. You look at me, you see me. And you treat me with the kind of love that you would want me to treat you with. Finally, where Sister Shanice is concerned, again, we pray for abundant blessings to fall upon her so she can continue the powerful work that she's doing. In the words of Papa Garvey, unite, organize now or perish. Rise, you mighty African people, for you can accomplish whatever you will. Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, Leader Bandaka. We thank the ancestors for you, for the skills and talents that they've endowed in you, that they've given you, so that you could do the works that you do and to be able to deliver it in the powerful way that you're able to touch our hearts and touch our souls. You know, I hope that everyone in the chat will share your presentation, take copies of it if you want from this show, share the presentations. If you know teachers who are doing cultural studies, history studies, you know, let them have this presentation so that they can use it to share with their students. We need to be telling our stories ourselves and not, you know, be presenting our young people the sugar-coated stories that they get from, you know, the colonial education in our schools and colleges. And may you be protected, and you and your family also be protected by our ancestors. May they surround you, cover you from your head to the toe, you know, each and every one of you, your wife, and all your family members, because you're doing an important job educating our community. So family, you know, to everyone who's been...
Shanice, can I just mention one more book?
Yes.
This is just an awesome book. Dark Days in Ghana. Such an important book, beloved brothers and sisters. If you can get your hand on a copy, please do, written by Osacho for Kwame Nkrumah again, and it tells you about about how his government was toppled and the tremendous work that he was spearheading in Ghana and on the African continent. Great book, I would also recommend. And can I just also say to tender to my queen, Sister Kylie, my beloved, my soulmate. I mean, she's just, man, I can't even begin to tell you. Well, even just being here, she just plays such a big part in making this possible. So I just want to shout out, because, you know, I don't have no inhibition to say I'm a man in love. And I give thanks and praises for my beautiful wife that I've been blessed with. And, you know, may she just grow from strength to strength.
And we thank her so much as well, you know, for making you available for these shows. And thank you so much, Sister Kai. Love you lots too. Love you lots. And also, family, just to let you know that Leader Bandaka will be back with us on Monday on this platform at 7 p.m. He will be streaming via this platform and also via Galaxy Afiri Radio. We've got some guests and the feature for that show as well is going to be about our beloved Kwame Nkrumah. And that show on Monday is going to be part of a series of shows that we'll be having on this platform. So in case you missed the beginning, please go to the beginning of this video where I did put up the posters with information about those events, but they start on Saturday. So there's an event. We're going to go live 7 p.m. on Saturday, 7 p.m. on Sunday, 7 p.m. on Monday, 7 p.m. on Tuesday, but 6 p.m. on Wednesday, because I have to finish in time for the 8 p.m. next Wednesday. And there's even a final one that's been prepared for the Thursday, because although Wednesday the 27th is the day that Kwame Nkrumah left us, if we use the African calendar, he would have left us on the Thursday. And so those behind the scenes, you know, our dear elder, let me bring up his name. I must call his name because, you know, he is the mastermind behind these events. You know, I'm just the vessel that he's using to go through to do the event. He's put in an enormous amount of work. Our elder, Akaba Ade Sebu. Rise up, elder. Sorry?
Achiaba.
Achiaba, thank you.
Adaye Sebo.
Elder Achiaba Adaye Sebu. Thank you so much. I must hail him up for the awesome works that he's been doing behind the scenes to make these events happen. He's managed to bring to the table a great lineup of presenters who will be delivering some awesome presentation. Saturday, live, 7 p.m. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, live, 7 p.m. here on the Sister Shanice Show. That's GMT time. Please do put the word out. To all of you that have watched and stayed with us and took in the presentation, please don't let it just be another ordinary presentation. May it be life-changing. May you go away and actually, you know, ponder on what our revolutionary leader actually did for us. He sacrificed his life. He knew that he was going to be murdered. He knew that he was going to be taken out for the work that he did. And, you know, there are many of us who are not even prepared to open our mouths and speak. And we are not going to be facing, you know, the torture to the extent that Patrice Lumumba did. We've all got to go one day. None of us are going to live forever. So why not let your life count? Why not unify with your brothers and sisters and be the difference that we want to see on the continent? My brother leader, there's so many more comments in the chat. I hope that you'll look back at them. But I must let you know that Mundele Moyibi, and I'm sure I pronounced his name wrong, but our brother who is from the DRC in the Congo has said that your altruistic, empathizing energy is felt by all, and to him as well here. And he says, and thereby to everybody in the Congo. He said, Longonia leader Bandaka, most welcome to the Congo. Peace, love, and respect. He said, you are most welcome to the Congo. To everybody watching, we need everybody who hasn't seen this presentation to watch it. So please do leave your comments in the comment section under this video. There are some wonderful comments in the chat, but no one will see your comments unless they watch this video. But in order for them to watch the video, sometimes people read the comments before making a decision whether or not to read. So to those of you, and I want to rise up Super Black, who've made comments like, what a show. This has to be one of the greatest ever presentations on YouTube ever. Wow, wow, wow. Please put that comment in the comment section under the video. And all credit to you, Leader Bandaka. To our entire family, as I said, please ponder over what our revolutionary Pan-Africanist leaders went through to bring about the independence of those countries, only for them to be betrayed by our own. We need some intelligence organizations and movements on the continent that's moving.
Nation building.
Nation building. We need these intelligence security agencies and our own people on the continent who are protecting revolutionary leaders and are prepared to protect them at all costs. I'll say no more. I'm sure you know my heart in terms of what's needed. Rise up, family. Stay powerful, stay strong, and we'll see you on Saturday, not next Wednesday, Saturday at 7 p.m. Sister Shanice out of here for now. Thanks again, Leader Bandaka. Thanks again, Sister Kai, Brother Olatunji, Brother Amawali, and the entire Al-Kabilan team. More love, more power, more strength, more voodoo.